All right, and we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. Got some stuff to go over here. We just got some news. So we should have plenty to go over. As we go through the slate here, we just got confirmation that Kyle Lowry is now out. So that's obviously a big piece of news. And Bam Adebayo is also out. So we got Dwayne Dedmon being in, Kyle Lowry and Bam Adebayo ruled out. And certainly some value that just opened up here. So that's a good way to kick off the show. And we should be able to have plenty of options in our lineup. No Kyle Lowry, no Bam Adebayo. That's going to bump up Dwayne Dedmon and Tyler Herro. And then obviously Jimmy Butler gets a huge bump as well. And he will become a tremendous play on this slate tonight. With all these guys being out, him being in, he's obviously going to be a usage beast. He should be a top priority for you in your lineup. So, certainly some big news going on there. And we'll continue to keep our eye on it throughout the stream. We'll do a little bit of a game-by-game breakdown, as always, answer any questions that you guys have. And all of that fun stuff. So, let me know if you have any questions in the chat. Patrick says, Miami got value. What's up, my guy? Patrick, how you doing? Welcome into the stream. And yeah, that Miami value that we just talked about here, that's certainly going to be a big difference in the slate. So this Washington-Charlotte game, starting things out, it really just hasn't changed much for me. Everyone's priced pretty appropriately for their role, I would say, overall. It's going to be a fast-paced game, but everyone's healthy on both sides for the most part, so somewhat difficult to really want to go there too much. Bradley Beal listed up at 9.8. Certainly going to be a usage-dominant guy. Charlotte's defense has been very bad. So if you do want to go to him, I wouldn't call you crazy whatsoever. It's just he's not quite as short-handed as some of these other teams that we're going to talk about on the slate today, like Cleveland, like a Miami now that we just got news on. Certainly going to, change where we're headed here. So just thinking it out loud here, Boston, Atlanta, Jaylen Brown continues to be out. So Jason Tatum, Al Horford, with there being no Robert Williams, is also going to get a big bump up in usage. And then Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Smart should continue to see a bunch of usage. We are waiting on some Atlanta news on the other side of things with Bogdanovich and Hoarder. That can open up even more value in this game in particular. So certainly something that we're waiting on there. Indiana, Detroit's pretty straightforward outside of the fact that we are waiting on some Chris Duarte news. If Duarte's out, that's going to give a little bit more playing time to Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb. So certainly would have some interest in them as a value plays. But do we really need to go there tonight? Honestly, with all this value for the Cleveland side, I'm not really too sure. I think Kevin Love's expected to be in. He's probable. He's going to get all the usage and minutes that he can take when coming back off injury because the entire Cleveland lineup's out pretty much. There's no Evan Mobley. There's no Jared Allen. There is no Colin Sexton. There is no Lauri Markkanen. So they're really hurting, and we did just get confirmation that Duarte is out. So Chris Duarte is out. We were just talking about that with him being out. That's certainly going to give us a lot more interest in Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, like I said, so that's going to open up some usage for sure, and will certainly be interesting to see where my projections are grading out on that, and where my projections are grading out overall as we go along the stream here, because we already got quite a bit of slate breaking news, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more with this slate being so big. So kind of got to be ready and prepared to make some changes in your lineups for sure. And like I said, with Duarte being out, that's going to open up more for Jeremy Lamb. It's going to open up more for Holiday. We talked about the Celtics side of things, with there being no Jaylen Brown. That's certainly going to be a spot to be taking advantage of from the usage. Cleveland, Brooklyn, I mean, they're so short-handed. If you didn't watch my video earlier, Darius Garland is my lock of the night. I like Darius Garland. I like Ricky Rubio. Both guys should get a lot of usage. I like Kevin Love. I mean, those three guys are going to be obviously the main core guys. And then you can certainly go to some cheapy guys like a Chetty Osman, like an Isaac Okoro. One of my biggest pivots would probably be playing a Chetty Osman over some of these starters, like Okoro and all these guys. They really don't produce at very high rates on a fantasy point per minute basis. So I think I'd rather go to the sixth man off the bench in Chetty Osman. He won't get nearly as much ownership. He'll get a lot more usage coming off the bench as that sixth man. And maybe he, like I said, slides under the radar. And if that's going to be the case for us, we will certainly take it. So that's certainly big news. that we'll be waiting on. And we already got confirmation on Duarte, the Miami news. We just got confirmation on that. So, like I said, obviously that's going to open up some more usage for Jimmy Butler. Mainly becomes just a tremendous play on the slate tonight. We already knew that. Luka Doncic was ruled out on the Dallas side of things tonight. So, and he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. So that's certainly going to give a big bump up to a Jalen Brunson, a Kristaps Porzingis, a Tim Hardaway Jr. Those three guys specifically would be the three guys I have the most interest in on this Dallas Mavericks side of things. So certainly would want to be targeting them. And then Chicago at Portland is the other piece of news we're waiting on. Norman Powell listed as questionable. Damian Lillard listed as questionable. That's certainly big news. If one or both of these guys are out, that's going to impact the Portland rotation and the Portland usage by a pretty large margin. Of course, if Damian's out, Norman Powell's out, we're going to have a lot more interest in CJ McCollum, regardless of either one of them. And that's kind of what we would be looking to there on that forefront. So, yeah, certainly some big news to be had here that we're waiting on. And we'll continue to break it down as it comes in. But Houston OKC, Kevin Porter Jr. is expected to probably be out in this one. He didn't participate in the Rockets morning shoot-around, so that's certainly a big piece of news as well. Should give some bumps up to a DJ Augustine, a Jalen Green, but also just the other Rockets starters. So a Christian Wood, a Jay Sean Tate, a Jalen Green, and Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, I think, also could be one that maybe sees one of the biggest bumps of the group that comes off the bench once again. Have interest in targeting the sixth man when he comes off the bench. He shouldn't get as much usage, or I'm sorry, as much ownership. If he does start, still would have interest in him, but no issues with you playing a guy that comes off the bench like that. I certainly think that Eric Gordon could be an interesting lone guy. If we get confirmation that Kevin Porter Jr. is out, and I do expect him to be out. And lastly, you do have KJ Martin all the way down here at 3-3. Maybe he sees some more minutes if he can get up into the mid-20 minutes. He's been putting up like right around, he put up 20 DraftKings points last time out, 17 minutes. If he's able to get some more minutes, he could certainly have a big game for you. And, we're just really waiting on that news to get confirmation on whether we can go there or not. So KJ Martin's another guy you could be looking to for value. Patrick says, I like Kevin Love. Yeah, I like Kevin Love too. I think Kevin Love is going to be a great play as long as he's not limited. He's not expected to be. He's been conditioning and all that fun stuff, all the reports say. So I do think he's going to be a full go here. And, yeah, that's just, an obvious spot to be going to. So I certainly like him. 8-game absence. And he's expected to draw the start. And I don't expect him to be too limited here. So he's certainly going to be a great play for me. Do like Kevin Love tonight for sure. And yeah, guys, I mean, the Sacramento-Minnesota game is going to be the fastest game on the slate. I feel like we buzz through these slates pretty quickly sometimes. So certainly ask any questions you have, and we'll get to them. But, De'Aaron Fox, certainly going to be a great play. You have Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes. Another guy that is going to be interesting that's drawn the start the last 2 times out is Mr. Metu. He's put up 23, and 36 DraftKings points. He's only seen his minutes continue to climb, and I'm not really sure that anyone's talking about him to my knowledge so far. So if he's not being talked about whatsoever, he could certainly be an interesting option for you tonight, and a guy that I would definitely be looking into playing on this slate. So certainly no issues with that. We'll be waiting on some more injury news here. Going to be doing some upgrades to my projections, some updates, all that fun stuff. But certainly that Heat news is the biggest piece of news we've received so far. Dwayne Dedmon's going to become a great value play. Jimmy Butler is going to become a value play. We did get confirmation that Chris Duarte's out as well. You could be taking a look to Mr. Holiday, to Mr. Lamb in your tournament lineups for sure. So going to be many different ways that you can play this slate tonight, and I'm looking forward to it. As far as some of my top spend-up options, I mean, like I said, Jimmy Butler becomes one of the best on the slate for sure at 9-4. Certainly going to like Jimmy Butler a ton now. There's no Kyle Lowry. There's no Bam Adebayo. His usage should be through the roof, and then same rule is going to apply for Tyler Hero. So he's a good pay-up option. Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis continue to be great pay-up options as long as the Lakers are going to be without Anthony Davis. These guys are going to continue to take on all the usage that they possibly can. So Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, certainly decent pay-up options for me on this slate tonight. Giannis could be a decent pay-up option if that game stays close. That's really what it comes down to when it comes to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Is a nationally televised game, which I do always factor in. Should want to go out there and put on a big game. Hopefully the coaching staff gives him a little bit longer minutes. And certainly going to like Giannis Antetokounmpo if the game does stay close. James Harden, Kevin Durant with this game in Cleveland, I'm a little skeptical to play them just because it's expected to be a blowout. It's much easier to just play on the Cleveland side because no matter what happens there, you're good. But if you pay up on the Brooklyn side, they really need the game to stay close to probably get you there at their respective price tags. So it's a little bit scary. The good news is they did get blown out last night, so hopefully they take tonight a little bit more serious. But I'd rather go to... I like Jason Tatum quite a bit. There's no Jaylen Brown. He's continuing to see a bunch of usage. Gonna have a lot of interest in him. I do have interest in playing CJ McCollum. Of course, more if Damian Lillard's out or Norman Powell or both. That's going to give him a big bump up. Kristaps Porzingis, with there being no Luka Doncic, certainly going to be an interesting option that you're going to have to take a hard look at tonight because his usage is going to be up. His minutes should be up. Now that he's been back for a few games, he's been playing right around mid-30s minutes, so I certainly will have interest in him as well. The Claw says, best single entry plays for DK. How's your night going? My best single entry play now would be Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero, Darius Garland, my lock of the night. Cleveland and Miami both very short-handed now, so those are two spots I'd be looking to. Dwayne Dedmon now we know is a great value all the way down to 4K. So yeah, those are a few guys that I'd be going to on those two teams, and then we're waiting on some Portland news that would certainly make us have some more interest. If we do get confirmation on that Portland news, like I said, you have a lot more interest in a Damian Lillard. You're going to have a lot more interest in a CJ McCollum. If there's no Norman Powell, if Damian Lillard's out, and CJ McCollum and Norman Powell are in, I'd have a lot more interest in them, etc. So it's going to be kind of a domino effect depending upon who's in the game. So that's obviously big news for us. And there might be more news to come. And as I continue to upgrade my projections, I'll certainly give you guys answers on what's going on. Patrick says, let's hit the like button. Yeah, guys, if you could hit the like button, that would be greatly appreciated. Right now, we only have 1 like. We're trying to get up to 20 likes for every stream. I know there's at least 10-plus people in here right now. So if you could take a second to leave that like, that would be greatly appreciated. And you can ask any questions you have, and I'll gladly answer them for you. Help you win some money tonight. And I think we did a pretty good job of flying through this slate for the most part. Kelly Olynyk continues to be out as well on the Detroit side, so one guy that's going to continue to be starting is Isaiah Stewart. He certainly has a bunch of upside if he's able to stay out there on the court. Has been producing at a very high rate, so he should be all set to go and should be able to produce, you know, like I said, at a very high rate. So certainly have no issues with you going to Isaiah Stewart. And he's another option that you could be looking to. So yeah, I'm going to try to upgrade my projections here. We're going to talk about FanDuel as well. If you're just tuning in, you can ask me any FanDuel questions over on FanDuel. Jimmy Butler, once again, 9-7, automatically just became one of the best plays on the slate, if not the best play on the slate, honestly, with all that news. We got confirmation that even more guys are out than we expected. That's obviously going to increase the stock of Jimmy Butler, and we're going to have a lot of interest in him. Patrick says there will be a lot of studs low owned. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I feel like it's the way the slate's going, it's just going to provide so much value that the studs might become pretty common to be paying up for. So I'm not sure that's going to unfold, but it'll certainly be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm not too sure that they're going to be too low owned when we're getting all this value opening up. You know, Tyler Hero is going to be really massively owned, I'm sure. Jimmy Butler for a good reason. Some of these Cleveland guys, like a Kevin Love, will probably be massively owned. Like Kevin Love on FanDuel, another guy that's priced very nicely at only 5.3. That's just too cheap. You know, it's very easy to play him in there. You have Darius Garland, Kevin Love. You know they're going to have to play minutes. They're extremely hurt. You know they have a bunch of fantasy upside as is, and then you're taking more guys out of the equation. So there should be plenty of opportunity for them to have big games tonight. And I'm certainly going to have plenty of exposure to the Cleveland guys, plenty of exposure to these Miami Heat guys, because it's just kind of that easy, to be honest with you. You know, when you get all this news that these guys are out, it becomes a lot easier for you to want to play them. So Who's your lock pick of the night? The class says Darius Garland is my lock of the night. Darius Garland is my lock of the night. I like him a lot. That was before we got the Miami news, though. So, I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, the easy lock of the night pick right now would be Jimmy Butler or Tyler Hero. I mean, both those guys just became very, very good plays. You can make an argument for Dwayne Dedmon as being a lock. He's probably a little bit more versatile as far as what you could do, but he's expected to be in now. He's only 3.7 on FanDuel. He's cheap over on DraftKings. He's only 4K, so yeah, you should really be liking the lineups that you're putting together tonight. If you're getting contrarian, that's fine too, but even if you're getting contrarian, like the lineups you should be producing tonight, you should feel really good about. There's just so much value. There's so many studs to pay up for. So many good plays. You know, it's not going to be too difficult for you to have interest in guys in your lineup. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions in the chat. I'll gladly answer them. And trying to upgrade my projections here. If you are interested in some premium content from me, I do offer a premium package over on Patreon. You can get access to all of my projections, my core plays, and all of my fancy-dancy, color-coded sheet to help you become better NBA DFS players and help you win money night in and night out. It makes it very easy. You can figure out the teams that are best in transition on defense, teams that are worse in transition on offense, half court, just my projections overall. You can figure out how much a guy's projected to multiply his salary by, all of that fun stuff for a very affordable price. So if you're interested in checking that out, please do so. I'm sure that you'll like it. And I'll be keeping an eye on all of your questions. What Bulls players do you like tonight? It's going to depend on the website. I like the main three for the most part. I mean, Tony Bradley, with there being injuries on this Bulls squad, could be a little bit more of an interesting option. But there's no Nikola Vucevic, so it's really going to be DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Lonzo Ball for me. So those three guys would be my favorite plays by far. They're the easiest to be locking in. They're going to get the most usage in their offense, all of that fun stuff. So yeah, pretty easily could answer that question for you. They would be my favorite options, those three guys. Depending upon the website you're playing on, I might have more interest in one guy than the other. On FanDuel specifically, I know that Lonzo Ball is underpriced. So certainly have interest in him. And I have no issues with you going to him tonight on this slate. And I'm interested to see how all of these injuries are going to impact what we're looking at here. Obviously, like I talked about, we're going to have a lot more interest in Jimmy Butler. We already had interest in Cleveland. We're going to have a lot of interest in Tyler Hero now. And Dwayne Dedmon. So all of this fun stuff going on this slate. Like I said, you should be able to build lineups that you're a big fan of tonight. You should be pretty happy with your lineups. Everyone in there should have a nice, snug fit with a lot of upside, and you should be feeling pretty excited. If you're not, you're probably doing something wrong. But I can answer any questions you have about that, and doesn't look like we have anything too much going on here. DeMar DeRozan would be one of my favorite Bulls plays, like I said. And then the Portland side, we're waiting on that news. Jalen Brunson going to be a tremendous play with there being no Luka Doncic. Certainly like Jalen Brunson a lot, so he's another guy you could be looking to on this slate today. And yeah, Dwayne Dedmon just becomes a very obvious play for me on this slate. Not too hard to be wanting to play some Dwayne Dedmon. Very cheap on both sites. Very good fantasy point producer. Let's see. He's priced at 4K on DraftKings. Pulling up my sheet here to show you guys what he's been producing on a permanent basis on DraftKings. Mr. Dwayne Dedmon is producing 0.98 DK points per minute. So at that cheap price tag, he should have no issues being able to surpass that price tag. And certainly going to be someone that you're going to want to have interest in. That's not a hot take by any means, but the fact of the matter remains, you're definitely going to want to be having some exposure to him in your tournament lineups. So definitely have interest in Dwayne Dedmon. Definitely have interest in Jimmy Butler. Definitely have interest in Tyler Hero. And it's just really going to be hard to be avoiding them on this slate tonight now. Best sleeper play and best overpriced guy. I don't know which website you're playing on. Best overpriced guy, like best. If he's overpriced, that means I don't really like him as a play. So that's kind of a, I guess, a fade play for you. Let's see. I'm gonna do DraftKings because I'm pretty sure you play on DraftKings, Claw. So I'll certainly answer there. Let's see. My worst pay up option would probably be LaMelo Ball at 10-7. I think that's a little too priced up. He could certainly get there, but I think the likelihood of him doing it isn't too high. So LaMelo Ball would certainly be probably my least favorite pay-up option. It's a fast-paced game. He could go off, and then you come back and you go, oh, LaMelo went off. What are you talking about? Well, chances are his likelihood of going off is a lot less likely than some of these other guys that we have in situations where their team's dealing with injuries and all that fun stuff. So LaMelo Ball would probably be my favorite fade of the slate based upon his price tag. We have other guys that are in better positions now. Sleeper play, I don't really have a sleeper play. I mean, this is such a huge slate. I guess my sleeper play would be that Metu guy on the Sacramento Kings. He's only 3-8 on FanDuel. I believe he's only 4-1. He's been starting. He's played 21, 24, 32 minutes. I'm not really sure that he's getting a lot of buzz around the industry or if anyone's talking about him. But I think he could possibly be a sneaky play for you. So that's one guy that I would be looking to for a sneaky play. Larry asks, with 11,800 left on DraftKings, who would you pick that's left? With 11,800? Well, I mean, I don't know who is in your lineup. But with 11,800, I'm probably going to go with either Russell Westbrook, Jason Tatum, or Jimmy Butler. I'd probably be one of those guys. Or Anthony Davis. Those are my more expensive pay-up options that I would be having interest in. Are going to get a bump up in usage with there being injuries. Jaylen Brown's out. LeBron James continues to be out on the Lakers side of things. So Jimmy Butler, there's no Kyle Lowry. There's no Bam Adebayo. So he's going to get a big bump up as well. All right, guys, looks like we got 12 people in right now, only 4 likes. If you could take a second to leave a like, that'd be greatly appreciated if you're enjoying the stream so far. And please ask any questions you have. I know there's definitely some people that might have some questions I haven't asked, so get involved, ask a question. I will certainly answer it for you. Give you the best plays to win some money on this slate tonight. That's the goal, so don't be shy to ask questions in the chat. If you want to join the KJK DFS fan club, you get priority in the chat as well. You get access to my badge. You can do so by hitting the join button below on my YouTube videos. I'd also ask that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That will make it easier for you to know when I go live, when I release these new videos that I'm working on, working hard on every day. And just be kept up to date with all KJK DFS content. So it'll be worth it. Make your life easy. You won't have to remember what time or know what time. It'll alert you on your phone. And then you can join in. Let's see if we have any more injury news here. I don't think we have anything too crazy coming in. I always keep an eye on my phone on the side so I get the instant notification. I don't really think that we have anything else here. Chris Duarte ruled out. We already knew. Dwayne Dedmon's going to play. Obviously, that's some pretty big news. Kyle Lowry being out is big news. Bam Adebayo being out is big news. But we already kind of knew all this for the most part. So feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about where we're at with our lineups. Feeling pretty good about our value plays and being locked in about knowing where we're going. Feeling pretty good about the lock of the night as always. Darius Garland going to be my lock of the night tonight at 6'5". He's going to be too cheap for this role he's supposed to take on. So certainly have interest in Darius Garland. Certainly have interest in Kevin Love. Certainly have interest in Ricky Rubio. Those 3 guys specifically on the Cavs side of things are just kind of obvious plays. So definitely like them. The usage should be way up for them. So, certainly be getting some exposure to them in your lineups. And I'm going to be filling out my core plays over here for my Patreon members, Discord chat. Ask me any questions there. For the guys in the YouTube chat, I'll be answering any questions here. Can tonight be a ceiling game for Porzingis? Yeah, absolutely. It could be a ceiling game for Porzingis. It's a nationally televised game. There is no Luka Doncic. He's continuously seeing his minutes climb up. He's not on a back-to-back. Last time he played was on the 15th. He got a day off, so there's no worries there as far as the time restriction there. So, yeah, it could certainly be a big Kristaps Porzingis game, and I do like him. So, if you're big on Kristaps Porzingis tonight, I don't blame you. I think it's a great play. Probably the biggest leverage spot, or like people are saying, like sneaky plays, would be waiting until that last game. If we do get news that Damian Lillard's out, Norman Powell's out, like that's big time news for the Portland side in this game. So that's not small news. It's the last game on the slate. Oftentimes that will lead to people just not wanting to deal with it because they're too nervous about whether they're going to be in or whether they're going to be out. So if you could set yourself up in position to have some ability to switch off from a Norman Powell or a CJ McCollum, etc., you could be in a really good spot to get some leverage on maybe a lower owned CJ McCollum than he should be. Because if CJ McCollum comes in at lower ownership, it's most likely because we didn't get confirmation that Damian Lillard was out and Norman Powell were out. He's going to be lower owned than he should be. He's going to be in an absolute smash spot, and he becomes one of the top plays on the slate, similar to a Jimmy Butler, where his whole team's out. He's going to get all the usage in the world, and you're going to be sitting really good in your tournament. So that's an interesting play there. And I don't think we've got any real big news on whether Damian Lillard or Norman Powell are expected to be more so probable or out. So yeah, that'd be nice news. That'd be good to know that news. But the good news is the fact that we don't know it. It could just open up some more. It could just open up some more value for you and some more usage on guys that are going to be lower owned. CJ McCollum becomes a tremendous play. Anthony Simmons would be filling in. Yusuf Nurkic would get a usage bump up here. Nazir Little, Robert Covington would become a much better play. Larry Nance Jr. would become a tremendous play if there's no Norman Powell. Would be my guess he'd get a big bump up in usage in minutes. So, yeah, that's certainly a good leverage spot. Last game on the slate. Some people may not be prepared for it. And if you are prepared, then you're going to get the edge. So, there's a nice little note for you guys there. Looking at my new projections here. Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Dedmon grading out as the top play on the slate by a pretty wide margin. So he's certainly someone you should be prioritizing in your lineups. Because he's by far the best play on the slate now. Based on his upside at his price tag. I mean, Dwayne Dedmon's just way too cheap. So yeah, Dwayne Dedmon going to be an obvious but effective play, I would say, for you tonight in your lineups. So certainly have interest in him. Certainly have interest in Jimmy Butler, as we talked about. And, these guys are going to get a big bump up here. So that's some big news. Waiting on that late news with Portland. But other than that, nothing too crazy going on here. Kevin Porter Jr. we expect to be out, so I'm kind of already ruling Kevin Porter Jr. as being out. So that would be one thing I guess I could touch on for you guys that you might, be up in arms about or debating on. So I certainly do have interest in him. Or I mean the value on the Houston side of things. So, we're talking about Christian Wood, we're talking about Jayshawn Tate, we're talking about Jalen Green, we're talking about Eric Gordon, all those guys getting a bump up in their usage with there being no Kevin Porter Jr. tonight, because I don't think that Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be in. So that's something that we could kind of get a jump start on while we're working on lineups. 5,400 for power forward on FanDuel. I have Love already. 5,400 on FanDuel for power forward. Patrick, give me 1 second and I'll be able to answer that for you. Let's see, 5,400. I just want to make sure I don't jump my answer because there's quite a few options I have interest in over there. There's no Robert Williams, so Al Horford's going to become a much better play. So I certainly would have a bunch of interest in Al Horford. Taking on his former team in Atlanta, you could play the revenge narrative if you want. Al Horford and Dennis Schroeder both returning to their old stomping grounds, so I certainly like those guys. I know that doesn't answer your question as far as 5,400 or under, though. If I'm looking at the power forward position at 5,400 or under, most likely I'm definitely going to be playing an Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart is priced at 5-1. He's going to continue to be the starting center for the Pistons. And one thing you can definitely take advantage of is when these sites kind of make a mistake on positional eligibility. I mean, Isaiah Stewart's listed as a power forward on FanDuel. He is the starting center now. So, it's not very likely that you could start a starting center in your power forward slot on all slates. So that's certainly something to take account and have interest in. So, right. Yeah, so it doesn't look like we have any more news. If you guys could please leave any questions you have in the chat and leave a like on the stream, that'd be great. We just answered that one question there. We're going to continue to upgrade our projections. We probably already know that Kevin Porter Jr.'s out. We know that all those Heat guys are out. So we've gotten confirmation on quite a bit here. Feeling pretty good about going into lineups. We know the Cleveland guys are going to get a bunch of usage. We know the Dallas guys are going to get a bump up in usage. Jalen Brunson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Kristaps Porzingis, all of these different guys because their teams are hurt. So I think it's going to be fairly easy to know where you're going for value. We know we have Dwayne Dedmon now as a play for value. He's going to be, an obvious lock and load play in your lineups tonight. We have the Cleveland guys. We have the Houston guys with there being no Kevin Porter Jr. We have Westbrook and Anthony Davis with there being no LeBron James still. We have Jason Tatum and Al Horford and Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Smart. There's no Robert Williams. That's going to be a bump up for Al Horford. There is no Jaylen Brown. That's going to be a bump up for all these guards. Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum should get a lot more usage. So yeah, guys, I mean, I think this slate's shaping out to be fairly obvious. Which isn't, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for us. We know where we're going in our lineups. And the thing is, there's so many different options. You can certainly still get different in your lineups. There's no Luka Doncic. That's big news. The Miami news is big news. The Dallas news is big news. The Portland news could be big news if there's no Damian Lillard or no Norman Powell. So there's so many different places you can go. The Chicago continues to be without Nikola Vucevic, so that's going to give a big bump up to a guy like a Zach LaVine, to a DeMar DeRozan. So yeah, guys, I mean, I feel like you should be feeling pretty good about where you're going in your lineups tonight. And life should be good. On FanDuel and DraftKings, you should be able to make lineups that you really, really like, which is never a bad thing. Never a bad thing when you're happy with your lineups. Let me know if you have any more questions. Let's see. We'll be hanging out till 6:30. We got another 20 minutes waiting on some injury news. See if there's anything else that comes in for us. Doesn't look like we got anything else, but we got a lot of news up front. We already got the Duarte news. We already got the Dedmon, Lowry, Jimmy Butler, all this fun stuff. So we already kind of know. We know Dwayne Dedmon's going to be, not Dwayne Dedmon. DeAndre Ayton's back in, and Frank Kaminsky's out on the Phoenix side of things. Maybe that gives a bit of a bump up to a guy like a Jay Crowder. With there being no Frank Kaminsky, he might be kind of forced into some more minutes as well. So no issues with you going there. And yeah. Yes. Good stuff. Lots of options. DeAndre Ayton. Who's your best bench play if Lillard is out? I don't know. Best play off the bench if Lillard's out? Or like the best guy that's going to be filling in would be Anthony Simmons. He'd be my top play if there is no Damian Lillard. He's going to be directly impacted. He's the backup point guard. He produces at a very high rate. He's very cheap. So if Damian Lillard's out, then Anthony Simmons should be the kind of obvious fill-in spot. We saw him put up 30 DraftKings points most recently when he had 28 minutes. If he's able to get quite a bit of minutes, he should be able to produce a pretty high score pretty easily. So he'd be my favorite play there. All right, guys. Let me know if you have any more questions in the chat. I'll gladly answer them. We're going to run over a few more projections here. Leading up to lock, figuring out where this is really impacting us, who we're really liking. I feel like we know, though. I don't know. I'm not... It's crazy. There's just more value coming in by the minute. Lakers are going to start Westbrook, Bradley, Horton, Tucker, Anthony Davis. That's missing a name in there somewhere, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 4. Oh, okay. Well, Carmelo Anthony and then Anthony Davis. That's why. I just read that wrong. Thought they were listing Anthony Davis as one guy, counting him as 2. So, yep, makes sense. That's who we expected to be starting for them, so no surprises there. J. Cole for 50 tonight, he says. All right, J. Cole for 50. That is your call, huh? I'm not really sure who you're referring to. When you say J. Cole, though, to be honest with you. John Collins? I don't really know who you're talking about. Josh Richardson, question mark. Yeah, Josh Richardson could be an interesting option. There is no Robert Williams. There is no Jaylen Brown. So he should certainly step in and get a decent amount of minutes and a decent amount of usage. The problem is his price tag's way different on the two websites. So Josh Richardson's only 3.3 on DraftKings. If you go over to FanDuel, he's a lot more expensive. So it depends upon what website you're asking me on. You can certainly play him on FanDuel as well at 5.1, but I mean 3.3 on DraftKings is just way more friendly of a price tag. So I'd certainly want to get most of my exposure to Josh Richardson on DraftKings specifically. Cole Anthony. Yeah, Cole Anthony is a good play if the game stays close. That game does have a 11-point spread, I believe. 12-point spread in favor of the New York Knicks. If Cole Anthony doesn't have a big game, his team is most likely getting blown out, and he's most likely probably not going to get you there at his price tag. So Cole Anthony, one of those guys, he's probably an all-or-nothing play, which is there's nothing wrong with that in your tournament lineups, but just keep that in mind. Hassan says, good evening. Good evening, Hassan. How you doing? Welcome into the chat. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Leave a like on the stream if you're enjoying it. And we're going to be hanging around for another 20 minutes or so, waiting on our injury news, upgrading our projections. You can join the KJK DFS Premium content team over here on Patreon. You get access to my projections, my core plays, my key stats. We did just get confirmation that Kevin Love is active as well. I'd expect him to be able to start, be good to go on this slate tonight. And yeah, so I'll be upgrading all of my stuff. Updating, I say upgrading. I'm constantly upgrading and updating, but premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, injury impact insights, NBA Discord chat access. If you are enjoying the live streams and you're liking the feedback and you're liking the content that you're getting from me, I guarantee that you're going to like the premium content even better. So check that out if you're interested. And you'll be part of the KJK DFS family over there, trying to get that community bigger. I really enjoy the Discord chat. It's always fun chatting it up with people in there up until lock. And then throughout the night, we can kind of talk about our lineups, how they're doing. So that's always fun. Looking at Maydew, Nance, and Richardson for value on DK, Hassan says. Yeah, I think your head's in the right spot. If Larry Nance, if we get confirmation that Norman Powell's out, I think Larry Nance becomes a much better play over here on DraftKings. For the time being, I'd go with Richardson based upon, or Maytude based upon that news. But I do like all those guys as value. So I think your head's in the right spot, Son. I think you're on some good value plays there. I mean, the only thing I would mention is Dwayne Dedmon is all the way down to 4K, and he's just became one of the most obvious value plays on the slate. So if you're not contemplating on playing him, he's certainly someone you should be contemplating on playing. If you want to fade him for ownership and all that fun stuff, sure, but he's the best play on the slate by far, respective to his price tag. So Patrick says, I plan on playing on both sites. Yeah, Patrick, best of luck, man. We will cover both sites. So if you guys have any questions about either DraftKings or FanDuel, please let me know. I'm covering both of them. And I'll gladly answer any questions you guys have in the chat. No problemo. All right, 13 people in here, 5 likes. If you hit that like button, we're trying to get over to 20 every stream if possible. That'd be awesome. And let me know any questions you have. Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis going to be good pay-up options. Feeling pretty good about them. We have plenty of value. We have the Cleveland guys. We have the Miami guys now as value. Just a bunch of different good value to be had on this slate. So you can pay up for any and all studs that you like. And be happy about it. You have Kristaps Porzingis. You have, there's no Luka Doncic, so he's a much better play. Jalen Brunson's a much better play. Jimmy Butler's an absolute smash play. Just so much good stuff going on in the slate that we should have plenty of different options to choose from, which should not hurt your feelings. You should be having some fun building your lineups tonight. You should be having some fun because you can build some fun ones tonight. There's so much value. You can fit in all the studs you want. If you want to go more balanced, you can fit that in. The world's kind of in your hands on the slate tonight, and that's kind of what I like, you know? It always makes building the lineups fun. Any Patty Mills love tonight? Nah, I don't think it's... You could go to Patty Mills if you'd like, but I just don't think it's necessary. With all these other plays that we have on the slate. But then again, I'm just constantly refreshing my projections and building out new ones here. So just bear with me. I might be able to give you a more accurate answer on truly how much I'm liking them. But overall, I just think there's some other spots we can go into. I mean, like, we have Tyler Hero. I know they're completely two different price tiers, but you got to factor in the price tag for the upside and the usage they're going to be getting. I mean, Kyle Lowry's out now. Bam Adebayo's out now. So Tyler Hero's probably going to absolutely smash. We already know we like Jimmy Butler. There's just a lot of really good things to be said about a lot of these guys where these minutes and this usage is opening up for that reason. It's going to make it fairly obvious to be going to these value plays. Patrick says, appreciate your content breakdown of the slate. Yeah, no problem, Patrick. Appreciate you. Patrick, one of the top supporters on the channel. Always recognize when I see him in the chat. He's in the Discord. He's in the premium member. He's I believe he's the only KJK DFS fan club member on the YouTube channel as well for the time being. So thank you, Patrick, for all your support. You are the man. And yeah, Patty Mills was the question I was asked. Patty Mills, he's only 3.5 on DraftKings. So, like, yeah, you could play Patty Mills on DraftKings specifically. I don't know if you're playing on DraftKings or FanDuel Bank Slayers, so that would help me out a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, he's really cheap, so he's certainly in play. It's just a matter of whether we really like him in comparison to some of these other guys. And there's a lot to like tonight. I could tell you that Dwayne Dedmon's certainly going to be my top play on both websites as far as his upside at his price tag. It's not even close. He's only 4K on DraftKings. He's only 3.7 on FanDuel. And he's grading out as my top play on both sites by a pretty wide margin. Like, not even close. So, yeah. All right, guys, let me know if you have any more questions. We're going to be hanging around for another, like, 10 minutes or so if we're getting questions. If not, I'll probably split out early. I got to upgrade all my projections answer all the questions that my Patreon members have in the Discord chat and all that fun stuff. Update my core plays. But I'll certainly answer any questions you have. Concerning Dedmon, I hate groin injuries. You never know when they can pop up. We'll look at him, though. Yeah, Hassan, that's a good... I mean, that would be a good approach to fading him, like from a projection aspect. Grades out as one of the top plays. He's been dealing with a groin injury. If for some reason he does have to exit early and he's massively owned and you don't play him, you could certainly have a big edge in the field. So, you know, that's certainly a valid point. And if you want to go that route, I wouldn't call you crazy whatsoever. But chances are he's really going to exceed what he's priced at on both websites, and he's just an easy plug and play. So you're also going to be kind of behind the field most likely if things go the way. So it's just kind of that's a risk tolerance thing that you'll have to depict which way you're leaning or not. And then once you do, obviously you feel pretty good about your decision. You can lock it in and go from there. All right, guys. Doing a final projection run here. Any questions? Doesn't look like we have any really other questions rolling in besides we have the comment about Dwayne Dedmon's groin from Hassan. Yeah, I certainly think that's a valid point. And if that's all that you guys have as far as questions, I can bounce out. If you have more, I'll gladly answer them. But we got about 10 more minutes left on the scheduled live stream till 6:30. And then I got to bounce out and answer some questions and all this fun stuff. Chris Duarte's out. Keep that in mind. It's going to be some more usage for the Pacers guys. But, yeah. What's your thoughts on Gibson? Gibson, I don't really think I have too much interest in, to be honest with you. The one thing I will say is that if that game does turn into a blowout, maybe he's interesting. But, I mean, that's getting pretty cute on a slate this large to play Taj Gibson. You could. I certainly think you could get there. So, yeah, he could be a good sneaky low-one play if you need the salary and you have a bunch of studs in your lap and you're feeling good about it and you need a way to get different because your studs are going to be highly owned. No issues with playing Taj Gibson. But there's just some other guys I'd rather play. Like, I'd rather play Dwayne Dedmon. I'd rather play Josh Richardson. I'd rather play Chetty Osman. I'd rather play Maytu. I'd rather play... I don't know. I guess some of these guys were getting into a different price range. But, I certainly like Jalen Brunson a lot in my lineup. So, there's a lot to be thought over. And a lot of opportunity costs on this slate because there's a lot of good plays. So, Hassan says, well, check out your Patreon. Thank you, KJK. Thanks, Hassan. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I think you're going to enjoy it. Like I said, it's $19.99 a month. I think you're going to win that back within like one slate. I'm pretty confident. You get access to the core plays, all my projections. They're going to tell you there's a multiplier metric, so it's going to tell you how much a player is expected to multiply their salary by, and it's going to be color coded. So similar to like what you see on my screen here on the live stream, this is kind of a sneak peek. You can see the opponent rank, opponent position rank, but this would have a bunch of different stuff in there too. If you were a premium member, you're going to see the minutes, the projections, the point per dollar, the multiplier metric, the minutes, the points per game, all that fun stuff. If you become a Patreon member. So certainly check it out if you're interested. Who's your best pay player on DraftKings? I'm guessing you mean your pay up option. On DraftKings, my favorite pay up option probably have to be Jimmy Butler now. I mean, Jimmy Butler he's gonna have so much responsibility. This is a game that was initially tagged as a pretty likelihood of blowing out, and now with Heat being banged up, I don't think they're going to be such heavy favorites, and for that reason, the game should stay close. Jimmy Butler should get a bunch of usage, and Jimmy Butler should absolutely smash in this spot. What's the best value at big man today on DraftKings? John Goss asked. That's going to be Dwayne Dedmon, John, and it's not even close. So Dwayne Dedmon at 4K is going to be your top value guy for a big man on DraftKings. Like I said, it's really not even close. So I certainly have a lot of interest in Dwayne Dedmon. All right, guys, 14 people watching, 10 likes. If you guys could take a second to leave a like on the video, that would be greatly appreciated. On the stream, I'm going to be doing these live streams as much as possible. I do my videos in the morning. I do my lock of the night, trying to get as much content out to you guys. My lock of the night tonight, if you're just tuning in, is going to be Darius Garland. That was before we get all this other news and stuff. There's definitely been some other really good plays that have opened up for us, but Darius Garland is my lock of the night. He's certainly still a great play, so I do have interest in him. Dedmon on FanDuel, a lock with Butler and Brunson. Yeah, top of my life, I certainly do like Dwayne Dedmon on FanDuel. I like him on DraftKings. I like him on both sites. He's just way too cheap. He's very easy to plug in your lineups. It's going to be very easy to be able to pay up for some of these guys that you like in your lineups. And yeah, I'm not going to argue with you that I would be willing to lock him in. I mean, it's just, he's by far. So I'll give you guys an example on my projections right now. On DraftKings and FanDuel, I do have a multiplier metric. I am anticipating Dwayne Dedmon to 7.7x his salary on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I've got him projected to 7x his price tag. So, I mean, that's even from a base salary aspect, the fact that he's expected to 7x his price tag is pretty crazy. And that's if he goes out there and puts up like 28 DraftKings points. If he's able to do more than that, which he's certainly capable of, you're going to have a really hard time keeping up with the field on their Dwayne Dedmon exposure, because that's just she's such a good value. I mean, you could fit in Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, LaMelo Ball, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jason Tatum, Jason Randle, Bradley Beal, like all these top options. I mean, you can't fit them all in the same lineup. That's not what I'm saying, but you get what I'm saying. Whoever your favorite option is, you can fit them in pretty easily in your lineups. Certainly going to make you like them a lot more. And, you know, that's kind of what we're faced with on this slate. We have a ton of value. We have a ton of studs. Should be easy to jam them in. Should have a lot of interest in making those type of lineups. Should have a lot of interest in the Cleveland Indians or not the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Darius Garland, Ricky Rubio, Kevin Love should have a lot of interest in those three guys specifically. Certainly going to like them. John asks, on the cash lineup, best value pick at guard on DraftKings. My best value pick at the guard position on DraftKings probably going to have to be my lock of the night, which would be, well, I don't know, with all this new value coming up and stuff, it's kind of tough. But I do like Darius Garland a lot. He's my lock of the night. And I wouldn't have an issue with you locking him in over there, but probably would be Jalen Brunson at 5'7", with there being no Luka Doncic. That news being confirmed, Jalen Brunson just becomes a tremendous play. So on DraftKings specifically, your best value with the guard position would probably be Jalen Brunson. 9,200 in utility left. Who should I choose? Let's see. Let's pull it up here. 9,200 in utility spot. I mean, Domantas Sabonis at 9.2 is a great play. I don't know if you already have Jimmy Butler in your lineup, but if you don't have Jimmy Butler in your lineup and you can at all possible afford yourself another $200, you need to do it, because Jimmy Butler is one of the best plays on the slate, and he's only 200 more than 9,200. The class, other than Butler, who's your best pay-up option? Other than Butler, I don't know, man. That's a tough question. There's so many good options. Russell Westbrook. Probably would be either Westbrook, Anthony Davis, or Jason Tatum, based on the usage. There's no Jaylen Brown for Boston, so Jason Tatum should get a big bump up in usage. And the Lakers continue to be without LeBron. So based upon that, I'm going to want to pay up for those guys. All right, guys. I got to go. I got to update my core plays, my projections. I got to answer all the questions in the Discord chat. If you are interested in becoming a premium member, please sign up. I'll give you access to all my sheets. Go over here to patreon.com/KJK_DFS. That's the link below in the description. You can just type that in, patreon.com. You can just go to patreon.com and search KJK DFS Daily for fantasy sports content. I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight. I got to get out of here, upgrade my projections, all that fun stuff. Lock of the night, Darius Garland. Definitely be playing Jimmy Butler in your lineups. He's an absolute smash play. Be playing Dwayne Dedmon in your lineups. Be playing Tyler Hero in your lineups. Be playing Jalen Brunson in your lineups. All that fun value. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight. We'll see you in the next one. And if you enjoyed the stream, please hit that like button before you head out. Best of luck tonight, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.